The first few seconds after we go live, every time you lag for a little bit and my heart drops.
Because it tells me that we're not live yet.
Oh, well, you're just lagging behind then.
I guess so.
Anyway, welcome to Tag Talk. My name is Kiley. That is Haley. And listen, Tag Team Wrestling is back. That should be the headline of this episode. We should replace the title. Just Tag Teams are back, baby. That should be it.
And you know what else is back? BTE.
Oh.
BTE is so back. This episode was for the girlies and the gays, 100%. Like, they really delivered the content. It was such a spicy episode.
I know. It's like, I don't know what the little transition was. I don't know when they went from like, here is
Christian AF to whores.
Here's coverage of the strike. And like, here's Matt being sad because he can't get a business deal with Wendy's. Here's Matt Jackson stripping for a YouTube show.
Literally a harlot.
I literally don't know what to make of it, but I'm kind of enjoying it. So if you haven't watched BTE, basically the current story for Matt Jackson is that he has found out that there are people on Tumblr who thirst after him and write fan fiction about him and do Tumblr stuff about Matt Jackson and, you know, the elite in general. And he's capitalized on it. He's like, I'm going to be naked. I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to be ready. And then he gets on BTE.
Yeah, and you know what? All the, like, hang Matt content, like, I think that this man is fully aware of his audience, and it terrifies me. Like, at first I was like, oh, like, maybe he doesn't like it, and, like, people should, like, stop. Like, maybe it's, like, weird, but no. After this week, he loves it. 100%. Confirmed.
Yeah, I was worried because, like, listen, there are people on Tumblr who they get a little bit carried away with it and they do a little too much. But that's the same for any fan of anything. Like, people can get to be too excessive with things. But no, this man goes on Tumblr and he's like, absolutely, you should lust after me. You should. Even though I'm married and I have children and we go to Hawaii and Disney all the time. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because I'm attractive. And I'm here for it. I liked it.
Yeah.
He's like, you know when men get older and they start balding and they get like wrinkles and they get insecure and they're like, I'm not masculine enough. Matt Jackson's the opposite. He's gotten older and he's gotten like more stereotypically masculine and he's obsessed with himself now.
And you know what? As he should be. 100%. I just love the random, like, unbuttoning his shirt just for no reason. Like, just insane. I don't know. I love this Matt Jackson arc.
It's really good stuff. And also the fact that internally he's doing that thing where he's like, oh, do my friends hate me? Are they mad at me? It's like dichotomy of man, you know?
A whore in crisis.
Yes, that is his new character. And I'm kind of here for it. Listen, I don't know where Kenny Omega is. I don't know what he's doing, but I need to know where first of all, the Hung Bucks are in a feud, and we're going to get into that. But Kenny Omega is in a feud with Don Callis. And just Don Callis. Like, that's it.
And, like, Ibushi, the Golden Lover, was like, it's all just way too much for me. Way too much.
Yeah. And Don Callis going on Dynamite and being like, we're going to destroy Kota Ibushi. Not because we hate Ibushi, because we hate Kenny Omega, and that'll break his heart. And Kenny's just presumably, first of all, he's arguing with people like Austin Creed on Twitter about while this is going on, okay? Which, no statement from the man about Don Callis' threat to Kota Ibushi, by the way. And then he's like, not on BTE, he's not on TV. So, like, does he care, first of all? Second of all, does he know that Mel Coleman is under the influence of Don Callis? And what is he going to do to save her?
That's the real question. How do we pull Mel out of this? Because after this recent beautiful painting that she has done, this beautiful artwork, I don't know that I can stand by Mel any longer.
Listen, I've known Mel for a very long time, and she is dark side. She is officially on the dark side, and I don't know what to do. But as long as she keeps doing beautiful paintings, I'm okay with it.
Get your bag, girl.
And also, listen, I don't know where Kota Ibushi is, what he's doing, but he's going to have a good match with Takeshita. So can I really fault her for painting him into the narrative? No.
Before we continue, we have a few super chats that I want to get through. I don't want to ignore anybody. Ryan, of course, our resident dad joker. What do you call a wolf that uses bad language? A swear wolf. Is this because of our Teen Wolf tweets?
Our Teen Wolf
tweets? About how much we hate the new Teen Wolf movie? I love it.
It's so bad.
It is.
He wanted us to talk about it. And you know what? I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that not the old Teen Wolf movie, the one that's based on the TV show they made, garbage. Don't watch it. It's not part of the canon of Teen Wolf. We cut it off. That movie, that's like fan fiction AU stuff. That's not us. And also, when you said our resident dad joker, in my head I went dad joka. Like, the joka.
I did too, so I'm glad.
It's the joka.
Yeah. Yep.
Love it.
And we also have one from Jackie. We love Jackie. Super chat incoming from my favorite Tag Talk girls. Have a great show. Thank you.
It's going to be a great show. Jackie, we're going to be talking about FTR today. So I don't know if you're heading out or if you're sticking around, but we will talk about FTR.
Yes, we will.
Letting you know.
Okay.
So if you guys want to submit a super chat, if you want like your question, your comment, or whatever read on air, submit a super chat and we'll do that. But getting back into it, the Hung Bucks are challenging for the ROH 6-man tag titles against the Mogul Embassy, which is, I guess the central feud to this is Swerve and Hangman. Mm-hmm. And their match at Wrestle Dream, which is in like a couple of weeks, October 1st, I think it is. But this is really interesting because the Hung Bucks haven't challenged for trios titles since they were the Hung Bucks 6-man champs in ROH, whenever that was, years ago.
2018.
Yeah, and so the Young Bucks they're like, we're stepping back from our trio with Kenny. We're going to go to the tag division. And then Hangman's like, I'm feuding with Swerve, and he has all these big boys that beat me up. Come help me.
And they're like, absolutely, Hangman, anything for you.
Yes. So, like, are the Young Bucks going to be ROH 6-man tag champs again?
I want them to so bad. Like, when they announced the reconciliation of the Hung Bucks, I was like, oh, absolutely. Like, I need a Ring of Honor run. I need all the merch. I need them to say Hung Bucks on TV again. I need it so bad. But now I'm like, I'm starting to convince myself that they're not going to. And, you know, there's going to be some little things that are going to happen in this match, maybe, that's going to cost them. I don't know. But I would like to see them win. I don't know. I want to see them hold titles again that aren't in AEW. Just one last time.
I think it would be fun because AEW, like, MJF and Adam Cole won the ROH tag title belts. Like, clearly the lines now, and if you watch ROH, you know this, the lines are kind of blurring, and ROH isn't necessarily just its own standalone thing anymore. There's not that much going on in ROH like there used to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Hung Bucks win here, especially because I do think it furthers the Hangman Swerve story. But on the flip side, I also think that if Swerve pins Hangman here, then the match at Wrestle Dream means so much more. Regardless, though, the Swerve Hangman feud, I adore this feud. I think Hangman has really cooled off as a single star since the Kenny Omega match. Like, I don't even count the CM Punk stuff. Yeah. I think the Kenny Omega match, like winning the title, they really didn't do a whole lot with him after that, in my opinion. At least not to the caliber of him leading up to Kenny Omega. So I'm really excited to see how that match goes, but also how Hangman comes out of it. Because I think win or loss, working with Swerve is really beneficial for Hangman. And it's beneficial for Swerve as well, because Swerve is another one of those guys who's been like right there, ready to go, but there just hasn't been an opening. So I think that this is like best case scenario for both of them, regardless of the outcome. But the Hung Bucks being a united front throws an interesting wrench in the works because Kenny Omega is still on that island. Like, he's still in Don Callis land.
Yeah.
And the Hung Bucks are going for titles.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, my brain is like, the story is a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and when the Elite originally, like, reunited, I was wondering if the Hung Bucks stuff would, like, take a backseat because of Kenny. But to see that they're kind of doing two separate things while also existing in the same world, I kind of like that. So I want more of that.
Yeah, and FTR is doing stuff with Aussie Open, spoiler alert. So I don't know if the Young Bucks are going to get back to FTR. I would like the trilogy maybe to be the wrap up for the Young Bucks and FTR moving forward. Like, yeah. I don't want to rush into more Young Bucks FTR because you get burnt out on it. But I don't know. Like, okay, so the Hung Bucks are ROH. Let's say that they're ROH 6-man champs. How do you rationalize that then with the Acclaimed, who are AEW Trios champions, but are like lower on the totem pole, you know, relatively speaking, to the Young Bucks? I don't know. I think that would be really fun.
I think it would be fun, but I'm also interested, and I hate that I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to make people that watch the show mad because I know you guys hate the Dark Order. I do think it's interesting that they're kind of coming up at the same time, and they're still holding on to that storyline on BTE especially. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, like, could Dark Order win the Trios titles? And could we see the Hung Bucks versus the Dark Order in a Trios? Like, a take-all? I don't know. You know what? I don't want to manifest that at all. I would much rather see the Acclaim versus the Hung Bucks. But I don't know.
I think it would be interesting to see the Dark Order lose and see the Hung Bucks win. And that interaction, like Hangman leaving the Dark Order, who if you guys think back to the Trios tournament, was with the Dark Order. Like, he wasn't with the Young Bucks for that. So seeing Hangman win 6-man belts without the Dark Order or the Dark Order lose, I think that's an interesting story to tell, especially because the Dark Order are heels now and they're back in their recruitment era and they're doing weird infomercials. I think that would be fun. I also would love the Dark Order to bring in a new person because they're recruiting. They're trying to get people to join. I don't know who it would be. I don't know when it would happen, but I think it'd be fun. And you know what? Brandon Cutler, we need to get back on that because Brandon Cutler, listen, he did the Dark Order thing and he in the sink with the blood and then nothing happened with it. He took the thing, the number, and what is Brandon Cutler been secretly Dark Order this whole time? I'm throwing it out there.
That would be terrifying, but also kind of great, and I would kind of love that. Like, turning on your best friends of so many years, the people that got you, you know, in AEW and, you know, have given you so much, just turning on them, crazy. That'd be such a crazy storyline, but a good direction for Cutler. I would like to see Cutler do more. I know he's perfect at, like, his little, like, stooge stuff, but I feel like something like that interconnected with the Young Bucks.
And listen, I'm not saying he's got to, like, win singles titles or anything like that. Go out
there and put on 5-star matches.
Brandon Cutler's not going to put on, like, a Kenny Omega Meltzer Acclaimed Classic. He's just not going to. But I think they've done a great job over the last 4 years establishing that he is Young Bucks ride or die, no matter what, Young Bucks, blah, blah, blah. But if you watch BTE, you know that's not the case. You know that Brandon Cutler has done some things.
A little shady.
And listen, they didn't do the Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson falling out story. So what I wonder if it is. And Brandon Cutler right now is doing tag team stuff with Colt Cabana. That's goofy and silly. And I love it. But it's goofy and silly. And maybe, you know, Brandon Cutler's tired of being goofy and silly. And he wants to be taken seriously.
You know what? I'm all for it. I love Cutler. I would love it.
Brandon Cutler, if you're watching this, you can have that one.
Please, take it.
But I think our general consensus then is that we do think the Hung Bucks are winning.
Yeah.
We want them to win? Is that like what we're saying?
No, yeah. I definitely think they're gonna win.
And also, I think AEW is just better when the Young Bucks specifically are champions. Like, the Elite, I feel like, should have titles always, just because, I don't know, I think AEW is better, and I think more people are interested when the Elite are at the top.
Well, and I feel like with that, we have the opportunity to get so many fresh matchups with them, especially things that we haven't, seen on the indies or in AEW, because there's a lot of, new talent cropping up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would love to see it.
And also, I do think that you get a lot of young talent over. Like, AEW doesn't have a problem making stars, but it does feel like they're kind of spinning their wheels with a lot of people right now, a lot of young people. So it'd be a good opportunity to get, the Hooks of the world in there with people like that and, get them over. Like, they did it with Dante Martin.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Dante Martin's injured right now. But when Dante Martin comes back, he's going to be a star. And I wish that we would circle back to Private Party. Don't know what's going on with that. I think they're just tagging in and out with injuries or something. I don't know, because it's like Isaiah's there, then Mark Quinn is there. I don't know what the story is. But, there's so many things that we can do with the Hung Bucks if they are 6-man champs. Even if they're not 6-man champs, there's a lot of things you can do with them.
Absolutely. And you did bring up Hook, so I do want to mention, because it does relate to tag team wrestling, Hook and Orange Cassidy. This tag team, I love it. I loved the little backstage segment they did with the purple Doritos. Purple Doritos are the Supreme Doritos, by the way. I love them. But I think that their dynamics are so interesting, and it's just so silly. I'm excited to see what they do.
I love that Hook keeps getting tag partners.
Yeah.
And they keep getting injured.
Yeah.
Or beating them up.
Is this like AEW's version of like the Asuka thing? With like every time Asuka wrestles somebody, they get pregnant. But
maybe Hook is cursed.
Yeah. Danhausen. Wait, Hookhausen. That's Danhausen. He definitely
What?
First Hook!
What does that have to do with Orange Cat? I'm not seeing the vision.
No, because you said Hook is cursed, and I said, "Oh, Hookhausen," and then I said,
"Oh, I thought you were talking about." Because I had said they either get injured. Like I thought you were saying that No, we connected the dots, guys. We did it.
Anyway,
we did it. Anyway, I think AEW is in a good spot right now when it comes to tag teams. Not just the tag titles. FTR Aussie Open is an incredible match. The trios titles with the Acclaim doing great things. I also think that they're in an interesting building phase where they're not really like sacrificing quality of content, but it's very clear that they are trying to find things that work after the absolute disaster that was the last 18 months or so. But I think that some people have left. For good reasons or for bad reasons. And AEW is now really putting things in place to make up for it and also to move forward after 4 years. So I'm really excited. And I think Hook and Orange Cassidy as international champ was really, really great. And now I think using that attention that is still on him to bring Hook up is excellent. And then when Danhausen comes back, what's going to happen then? How is he going to feel about Hook? What are we gonna do? Because listen,
and I mean Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, like they go way back. The best friend stuff that they did together, like very interesting.
Listen, what's gonna happen? I don't know. You don't know, but listen, AEW knows, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Listen, and also like Rampage having good matches. Listen,
Rampage back? I don't know.
Is Rampage back? Question mark. Is AEW back? Listen, I think so. And listen, I haven't watched Rampage live, so like at Friday at 10 in months.
I haven't watched it in like a year or so.
Probably. I probably watched it like in its time slot the first month or so. And then I was like, because they started doing so many squash matches and just things, or like repeats of Dynamite segments or matches that I didn't really care all that much for. And that's like kind of where I got with Collision. Like Collision, it was like a central group of guys. It was like CM Punk and like his friends and like some other people. And then it was like the same every week. So Collision, the evolution of Collision now, which I don't think it's perfect. I don't think Dynamite is perfect either. It definitely feels like AEW is testing the water and putting different things forward to see what works when and why and how. But what I do know is that Hangman and Swerve is for the girls.
100% for the girlies.
For the girlies. But yeah, Hung Bucks, ROH, I approve. Acclaimed losing to Dark Order, I do not approve. Dark Order as trios champs. That's where we stand. We have been their biggest supporters.
And it's crazy because at one point we were like, yeah, the Dark Order should be trio champs.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but somehow I was like, I think it's because Hangman got made up with Kenny Omega and everything was fine. And then I was like, oh.
It's like, oh, Dark Order. But maybe they'll bring somebody like really good in and just kind of reinvigorate the stable, and like we're gonna be so Team Dark Order again. Maybe.
Who do you think that they should bring in?
Who? I don't know. Who do you have any?
I don't know. I feel like they could bring in any young talent in AEW or in ROH and just rebrand them. Like, give them a new character like they did with Anna Jay.
That's true.
Y'all remember when Anna Jay was a magician?
Yes.
No one else, every time I bring it up, no one else remembers. She was a magician. That was wild.
The character evolution. Shout out to Anna Jay. I love Anna Jay.
I love Anna Jay too. I don't stand for Anna Jay slander. I know people on Twitter like to slander Anna Jay. I don't stand for it. Go away. Period. But moving on, let's get to FTR. So FTR. So I don't know if you guys know this. AEW has a pay-per-view like in a couple weeks immediately after they just had a pay-per-view.
In a couple of weeks.
and then also now there's I think it was Andrew Zarian who's saying that AEW is going to move to a 12 pay-per-view a year model. Kill me now, please. I don't want that.
See, to me, I'm like, I don't want it, but also, if it's gonna free up the brain space in Tony Khan's mind with some of these stories and like how jumbled they can be in between shows and how they kind of drag, then like I don't hate it, but it definitely needs to wait until it's on HBO or Max now. It's not HBO Max anymore. And do like the Peacock model. That's the only way I'll watch.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I need them to not be these like 5-hour classics that Tony's used to book in. Like if we're like 2.5 hours, yeah. If we can do that, then it's fine. And if it means that talent, like the churn of talent up and down the card is increased, and we get to see more faces, I'm okay with it. My worry, though, is that Tony Khan is going to see more pay-per-views and get so excited that he just books more feuds.
He overbooks
and more stories.
Yeah.
And then we get in real trouble. Mm-hmm. That's my worry.
And I feel like it's cool because you can rebrand a lot of their like specials they have. Like a Wrestle Dream or like what Beach Break or whatever the heck it's called, like things like that. You could make these like 2-hour like pay-per-views or specials or whatever, and cycle a lot of talent through those. So I hope if this is happening, or it is happening, I don't know, that he takes that into consideration, please.
Yeah, and Jackie in the chat says, I just hope it doesn't water down the booking and storylines. I definitely have that same worry. because I do think that AEW's biggest strength, especially compared to other promotions, is that a story never lasts just a pay-per-view cycle. Even if the feud ends, the story will come back up later on, whether it's, you know, a person in another feud mentioning it or something like that. My worry is that we won't get that depth in stories. Like, I think when you have a 12 pay-per-view model, and this is the trap WWE falls into, you rely so much on tropes to get a story going because it has to finish at a cycle or, you know, the pay-per-view after, you know, very rarely more than 3 pay-per-view cycles. So I don't want it to be this situation where we're like, oh, tag team breakup because this person's actually secretly evil. And it's like every cycle we get one, like that's how it is in WWE. Or like a storyline between women, like it's almost always like, I'm the best. And the fact that you're the best makes me sad. Let's fight. And it's like in AEW, you have some of that, but you also have stories like The Elite, like Swerve and Hangman. That is a deeper story. Or, you know, you have MJF and Adam Cole. Or, you know, you have the story of Chris Statlander and her comeback and how she's like now like superhuman, and Orange Cassidy in the same way. So I really hope that, and I think this is what Haley was saying, if we're going to do like a month-long pay-per-view cycle, we have like 3 strong feuds. One of them has to be women. And then the rest, we can kind of do that watered down, silly stuff because it's still fun to watch. It's just not what we're used to with AEW. So that's what I hope for. But my worry is that we won't get it.
And I feel like, in a way, too, this is going to really force Tony and company to bring more women into these shows. Because you can't, like, if you're doing, you know, 5-6 pay-per-views, you know, you can get away with doing, you know, 1 women's match per show or whatever. But I feel like this way, you're going to have more feuds going on at once. Because, like you said, you can't just drag a feud. I mean, you could over multiple pay-per-views, but it's not exciting. So I feel like that's definitely something they're going to have to take into account too.
Theoretically, yeah, but I also don't think, I don't know if Tony Khan sees it that way. Like you and I, we would agree.
Because we love women's wrestling.
We love women's wrestling, and also that if you're going to do 12 pay-per-views a year, you can't have every match be a Britt Baker or Saraya match.
Yeah.
And then just like a random TBS Open challenge. Like you have to do other things. I'm just not convinced Tony Khan sees it that way. So that's another thing that we're going to have to watch if AEW transitions to the 12 pay-per-view model. Not just the storylines, but the diversity of the storylines and men's stories, women's stories, singles, trios, tag, all that kind of stuff. We're going to have to keep an eye on it. But I'm optimistic. I will never turn down more AEW wrestling. I just have my reservations.
Yeah. I agree. I was gonna say something else, but I'm just gonna cut myself off before I get myself in a little bind today. I'm feeling a little spicy, and I gotta hold myself back so I don't get in trouble.
Oh, okay. Well, Haley, since you are the Aussie Open fan out of the two of us,
spicy. This match, Aussie Open and FTR.
Oh, I thought you were like, I was like, I didn't do anything. But do you think that Aussie Open beats FTR at WrestleMania?
Yes.
Why? Explain.
Well, you know, they had that banger of a match last year at Royal Quest. And FTR beat them there. Theoretically, I would love to see Aussie Open go over here. I think them winning, you know, the New Japan titles, the Ring of Honor titles, and the AEW titles in the span of a year, I mean, I think would really solidify them as the greatest tag team right now. And that's kind of what it's about, right? So, I don't know. I would love to see Aussie Open win here, but I do think it's a little weird with the Chris Jericho and Sammy situation that if they were going to get the title shot anyway, shouldn't have Jericho and Sammy, shouldn't they have like lost that? I don't know. To further these stories, I don't know.
The Jericho Sammy thing, I'm vaguely interested in it. I think that I think if you watch any show I've been on, Tag Talk or whatever, I've been like pushing for Sammy Guevara to be free of Chris Jericho for 2 years, 3 years now. I think his relationship with Chris Jericho ran its course. So I'm on that hand, I'm interested to see the breakdown of that relationship. But them as a tag team to do that, I'm less interested in. I don't really the Les Sex Gods. I don't really vibe with them as a tag team. I don't really get it, I guess. But Aussie Open, I do think one, the Aussie Open is incredible and deserves that title shot. And I think they've been nothing short of stellar in AEW. I don't think any of their matches have been bad. I think they're really reliable, and I think fans like them, especially when you have a catchy chant and fans are getting to know you as a tag team. It really gets them invested in you. I'm just not sure if it's the right time yet. I don't know. It's like, I think in my head, Aussie Open is too new in AEW to win. But then, like, I look it up and they're not. Like, they just feel too new to me. Like, I don't know what it is about them. They just feel like they're not ready yet. Like, I don't know them well enough yet. And maybe them becoming champs will force me to get to know them, and everything will be fine and it'll all work out and life will go on. I don't know. Like, I think about them beating FTR in AEW. In New Japan, go for it. In AEW, I don't know. It just feels it's not clicking for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe it's I'm holding on to like my Aussie Open Will Ospreay hatred.
Let it go, Kiley.
I still cannot mention Aussie Open on Twitter without people being like, I thought you hated them. Because you hate Will Ospreay too. And or even worse, it's like Caden, who's like, Will Ospreay's the GOAT. And I'm like, cool, I'm talking about Aussie Open. Anyway, I don't know. Do you get those vibes, or are you just like so deep in Aussie Open that you don't get those vibes?
I see what you're saying, but then I think back to like the Guns winning the titles, and I'm like, well, if the Guns,
why would you bring that up?
But I'm just saying, Aussie Open has been around a lot longer. They've been, in and out of AEW for like over a year now. I don't know.
I don't know. I think, like, for me, I really wanted it to be Jay White and Juice Robinson who beat FTR. I really wanted that because I think that feud is of a higher caliber than FTR Aussie Open in terms of my perceptions of like the AEW pecking order of things. But Jay White, he was out last week for personal reasons, and they haven't really done much with the direction of that story. As long as it's not the Guns. I think if you could do FTR versus the Guns for funsies and have the Guns lose, and then you could bring in Jay White and Juice Robinson and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, Aussie Open, because then what do? You can't do Aussie Open versus Bullet Club Gold. That's heels versus heels. That's not fun.
When has that ever stopped anybody before, Like, a fun match is a fun match.
Yeah, but like, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. I'm thinking about the story, Haley. The story. I don't know. Maybe like what I want out of tag team wrestling is just not what Tony Khan wants, and I just have to get used to that. Maybe that's where we land here. That's the conclusion.
I mean, I don't know. I think I'm just like dead set on them winning, that I don't care. Like, because when they lost the ROH belts, I was like, okay, if this is the way it's going to go, then I need them to challenge for the AEW Tag Team Championships, and I need them to win. And I didn't think it was going to happen this soon. But because it is, I'm like, okay, well, I gotta commit to it now. Like, I need to see it through. Like, they have to win.
I almost wonder if they're gonna lose and we're gonna circle back to this again.
And do like,
and then maybe in the meantime, you give FTR to like the Guns, I guess, or someone else. I don't know. But I do think that a title change would be a good way to get more interest on Collision, because FTR, and I mean, Aussie Open's been on Dynamite and stuff, but like the tag division does feel Collision now. I don't know, but Juice Robinson and Jay White, I think that there's money there, and you can't do trios with them because you have the Guns and they're a tag team. You introduce 4-man. Like, here's the AW, like, what was it, like quartet? Is quartet 4?
yeah,
Yeah, and the quintet is 5.
Yeah.
AW quartet championships. Oh my!
You know what I'm sad we never got, though?
Huh?
I'm sad that we never got Nick Jackson versus Juice. Like, imagine how unhinged that would have been. And like, there's no reason they can't circle back to that. So I need that singles match.
Maybe that's the match we get. We get the Hung Bucks, and then we get some combination of Bullet Club Gold, probably Juice and the Guns, winning the trios belts. And then we do trios versus trios. But on Dynamite, to build the feud, we get Nick versus Juice.
I would love that. Just who is the more unhinged person? I don't know. And I think it would be so gloriously chaotic.
And then we could bring back the merch freak gimmick.
Yes!
We are just giving diamonds to Tony Khan right now. Like, someone, listen, send Tony Khan on vacation. Whatever. Tell him AW's canceled for a week and give us a call.
We're right here.
Some people in the chat are talking about grizzled young vets. Their WWE, contracts are expiring. I'm not sure. I do think that they'd be great in AW. I think that they would fit right in AW. I just don't know, one, whether AW is signing tag teams. I have no clue. And two, whether they would want to come to AW. I have no idea. I'm familiar with grizzled young vets, like their in-ring work. I'm not familiar with who they are as people and their personal lives and all that kind of stuff. So it's not easy for me to make that prediction. But I do think that AW should at least put feelers out and see.
Yeah. Ooh. Maria says, what about the Kingdom winning the AEW Tag Team Championships? They've been killing it lately with the Roderick Strong and Adam Cole angle.
I could see it, but I do think that the bigger story for them is in being part of this Roderick Strong, Adam Cole story. And the MJF Adam Cole feud, I have no idea how it ends. Like, a month ago, I had a clean cut, perfect plan. But now I'm like, I don't want them to break up. Like, I want them to be friends forever. But last week on Dynamite, MJF was kind of like talking smack about Roderick Strong's neck injury, and Adam Cole was visibly upset by that. Like, he wanted to say something. So clearly he still has feelings of friendship towards Roderick Strong. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kingdom, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole unite as a faction at the end of it, which would be interesting, especially if Kyle O'Reilly comes back and then you have like a mega faction. But I do think that AW should start making moves towards Adam Cole, Jay White, and getting that feud wrapped up. And then you can circle back to the Hung Bucks and that feud with Adam Cole. And Bobby Fish isn't here anymore, but he can have beef at home.
R.I.P. Robert the Fish.
R.I.P. Robert the Fish. I do think that that's the way that they should go. But I think the Kingdom winning, whether it's AW tag titles or the ROH tag titles, I think ROH tag titles are more likely. I think it'd be fine, especially getting them established as like not just the lackeys of Roderick Strong.
Yeah, I would like to see that, but I don't know what their goals are in AEW, or I mean even Ring of Honor, really. Like, I don't know if they're just content with where they're at and doing this, or they would want to do something like that. But I would like to see it for sure. I have to. Ryan, listen, I like you two a lot, but I can't have you booking AEW. Every segment would feature the Elite, and it would be a lot.
Excuse you, Ryan. You do know that I am multifaceted and I have many interests.
Okay.
So if you're gonna send hate messages to me, come do it in person.
But Ace says counterpoint, more women's matches.
Ace is on our side, and you know
what?
That's
if we booked AEW, it would like the whole show would be women's matches. I swear, all women's matches in like an elite match or an elite segment.
I like other people. Ace knows us because Ace watches our show. Period. But anyway, yeah, that's the vision that I see for Adam Cole and MJF. And Roderick Strong in that whole situation. I just don't know when Adam Cole and MJF are going to break up. Because now, it's probably not going to be Wrestle Dream. Because I don't think that's I feel like that's a B-level pay-per-view. That's just weirdly stacked. Because they announced it so, late. I don't know. Maybe Full Gear? Maybe like, I have no idea. Maybe you build for Adam Cole challenging for the belt again? I don't know. But I don't want it to end. I'm like so into it.
I'm into it, but I'm like one of those people that's like, when I can't predict the end of something, like I want it to end even more so I can like, so I can see it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
when it's unpredictable. Like, I'm not a fan of things that are unpredictable. That's why I like the Elite, I feel like, because I
you just get it.
Yeah.
God. Do you like spoilers? Are you one of those people who looks up spoilers before they watch something?
No, but like if I happen to stumble upon it or like I see it, I don't like freak out. Like, because honestly, I forget things a lot. So by the time I watch it anyway, I'm probably gonna forget. So it's gonna be like I didn't see it anyway.
That's fair. I get it. I also have that problem, so it's okay. or like I misremember it.
Yeah.
And I watch it and I'm like,
that's not how I
that happens sometimes. Like I misremember wrestling that I watched as a kid. Yes. And I go back and watch it and I'm like, wait a minute. That didn't happen? Or it's a problem. But I feel like the wrestling that lives in my head is superior to the wrestling that was produced in the 2000s.
Do you feel like, not to like make this like a conspiracy show, but do you feel like that's how like the Mandela effect kind of happens? People just like misremembering things.
Yeah, and they misremember, and I feel like sometimes people mash memories together to make things.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to logos or like brands and things like that, you're just blending memories together to make a memory that doesn't exist. And then someone else sees it and their brain identifies both of the memories of that thing. And they're like, oh, I remember that too. But it's not happening. That's not how it happens.
I'm so glad we like feel the same way about things.
I know. It really makes this show a lot better, I think. Imagine if we fought the whole time.
People would love that. I feel like they live for the drama.
We should have a debate. I have a gavel in my
Fly live on Tag Talk, Kiley, because I know how competitive you can be, and you would literally sit here and make me cry.
I am so good at debates. Like in high school and college, I did so many debates.
I'm not. That's why when you start to say something, I'm just like, yeah, okay. I just agree. I don't want it to be. Unless I'm feeling like I want to and like I can hold my own. But
maybe that's what we do for our spooky episode.
A debate?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, it'd be so scary. My worst nightmare is watching two people fight. Like I hate conflict.
Yeah. And two best friends at that. What if it ends our friendship though? Kiley, what if it ruins Tag Talk?
We are MJF and Adam Cole. Oh my god. No. That's how our show ends. And then we rebrand to something else. Undisputed Tag Talk. Oh no. I'm gonna pitch it.
There's a few things we could rebrand as, but
you guys, you have to keep an eye out for our Halloween show, our spooky show. We did one last year. We're going to do one again this year. You just have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, and we settled on matching costumes, and I think if we can make it work.
We're not telling you yet because it's going to be a surprise. But it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. We have... No, I don't want to say anything else because it'll spoil what we're going to be Jeff says.
Okay.
But I'm super excited about it.
We got to keep them guessing. Keep them warm.
Gotta keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
Our audience. I don't know how many of you were here last year because Tag Talk, like, our viewership has gone up since last year. But if you're an OG, you're gonna really appreciate our Halloween episode.
I mean, we had like a whole like set up last year. Like we committed. We had
I put ribbons in my hair.
We had drinks. Like
you did. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I just had a great idea. I'm not going to say it on air. I'll tell you after, but it's something we'll have to pitch, but I think it'll be fun. Okay. Ace just said something in the chat, and I need you to put it on screen.
I see it. Kiley and Haley are the show Michael's attacked on Caden's fight.
No one tell Caden that Ace said that, nor that we laughed, okay? But... Listen, Caden purposefully says things to make me mad.
And you know what? Sometimes he just needs a swift super kick from a window.
If I knew how to do a super kick, I would do it.
I can do it. I've been practicing.
What? Since when?
Since you said you were going to beat me up the last time I saw you.
When did I say that?
You definitely said that kind of.
And I love that your idea of self-defense. You were like, I got to learn how to do a super kick.
I mean, I can do other things, but my line of defense is my legs. I have strong legs. My arms, not so much. I can kick. And I'm short, so it works.
You should punch because you're like punching people like low. Like you won't break your hands.
That's true.
People, yeah, see? Because, like, you punch someone in the face, like, you're going to break your hand.
I love how you're just giving me tips on how to beat you up now.
Haley, you could not beat me up.
I couldn't. I know I can't. You would literally break my arm.
Probably. I love that you have depicted me on this show, this episode, as an angry, violent jerk who will make you cry and beat you up for no reason.
She's not, but she did say... if she saw me, or when she saw me in Chicago, she was going to beat me up. And she didn't. So I'm grateful. Truly.
I did nothing but be a joy to you.
It's true. You were the best. You're always the best. Like
I don't know how we got from should the Kingdom win the AEW tag titles.
No.
Seems like
a fluid little stream would be a shame.
If you would, you're always welcome to come join. This has been an absolute disaster of an episode. Somehow we've talked about. Well, we checked all our boxes. We talked about everything we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So now we're just kind of here.
Now we're just kind of here.
Talked about body odor.
Listen, that I still remember that discussion, and my point still stands. I feel like that little segment of Tag Talk when Kate came on, it's timeless. People will look back 20 years from now and talk about it. I feel like that's just how it's going to be. But anyway, MJF Adam Cole. That is me and Haley. And also, MJF Adam Cole is my favorite thing in AEW right now. Oh, and also, I was going to say something about the Mogul Embassy. Oh, also, Brian Cage should be out of the Mogul Embassy. As long as we're doing, like, we're just going to be ridiculous and do hot takes and everything like that. I think Swerve needs to revamp the Mogul Embassy and make it full of people that I actually think are scary. Because right now, the Mogul Embassy, I mean, Khan, I really like Khan. And Toliona is good too, but, like, I'm not afraid of them. I'm afraid of Swerve because I know that Swerve would absolutely beat up anybody you put in front of him because he's excellent. But Brian Cage kind of brings down the vibe.
Let's be honest, it's just Brian Cage that's the problem.
It's just Brian Cage at the end of the day. I was trying to be nice and say it's all of them, but it's not. It's like when he was with Hobbs and Ricky Starks. It's part 2. It's like 2 charismatic young people and Brian Cage and their leader.
Yeah.
Ryan says, "Look for some big men. You should be afraid." I'm not afraid of Brian Cage. I know for a fact I cannot run him.
Have you guys?
Close.
I'm concerned, taking it extremely personally that Jade left.
Are you saying that Jade left specifically because me and Haley? Should I be taking it personally? Kate, are you telling me something?
What the heck?
No, I'm happy for Jade.
What do you know, Kate?
I think Jade, of all of the women's wrestlers who have come up in the last 5 years, I think Jade is one that just seems like a natural fit for WWE. Like, she has the look that WWE normally goes for. Especially if you look at the women who are really succeeding in the Triple H era. They're all, super athletic, super strong, like Bianca, like Rhea Ripley. And I think her ceiling is higher in WWE in terms of what she's able to do in, Hollywood or whatever she wants to do, whatever. So I'm super excited for her, and I'm excited to see what WWE does with her. I do think that I'm team main roster. I don't think that she should be in NXT, just because I think that if you put her in there as a spectacle on the main shows where there's lots of casual fans, I think she'll just be an instant hit because of her look and how jacked she is and how crazy she is. And I don't think that she's still green in the ring. I'm not saying she isn't. But I don't know, like her and like seeing Jade in NXT with that set and like the vibes that are there, I don't think that her character translates there as well as it does straight to the main roster, face to face with like Nia Jax or something.
I feel like if they do throw her in NXT, it makes a little bit more sense that Becky won the title now. Because I would like to immediately see something like that. But I agree, there are things on the main roster that I would love to see, especially something with Natalya. I think that Natty is so good at putting some of these younger girls over, and I think that Jade would really benefit working with somebody like Natty.
I agree. Regardless, I think that she's going to do great in WWE. I think it would take a monumental error for WWE to mess up Jade Cargill. They'd have to like put her in a clown suit and make her dance around or something.
We're not going to Tony Storm Jade, please.
Tony Storm, like, they really dropped the ball, but I do think like Jade is just such, I don't know, she screams WWE to me. Like, it's really hard to have someone that looks like that be a joke. Like, I'd be, you could Tony Storm her, and I'd be like, she's still like 30 feet tall and jacked. Like, I can count all 200 of her abs. Like, I'm not going to buy into the fact that she's a joke ever.
That's fair, but also, never count out WWE.
I'm only thinking positive thoughts about Jade because I'm manifesting success for her. Okay?
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm very happy for her. And like you said, I also think that her ceiling is higher in WWE. But I also don't think that it eliminates the possibility of, her going back to AEW one day down the line, if that's, something she would like to do once her stock is way up, like it seems that she left everything very positive, and Tony still has a lot of love and respect for her. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, me too. That's the conclusion. And that's my final thought. Haley, what are your final thoughts and your plugs?
My final thoughts. Long live the Hung Bucks and Stan Jade Cargill. Period. My plugs. You guys can follow me on Twitter at HaleyAnn_. You can also subscribe to my Substack, The Wrestling Muse, and I have another one that's just kind of non-wrestling things, if that's something that you're interested in. I also helped write a cookbook. It's called Eating the Indies. It's available on Amazon. I know all the proceeds this month are going towards helping Hoodfoot out. So, if you want to support, you can do that. Yeah. I also write for Nerds and Beyond. I do nerdy things, and I lead all the wrestling coverage over there. So if you want to check that out and support that, nerdsandbeyond.com. I think that's it.
You can follow me on Twitter at Kiley Wrestling. I post everything I'm doing there, which lately I've been so busy with my actual real big girl life that I haven't been doing a lot of things. I haven't been tweeting a lot either, but I promise I'll circle back to it. This is Tag Talk. We live every Monday at 3 on Fightful Overbooked. We talk about tag team wrestling. It's not always this crazy if this is your first time watching, but you know what? I'm not going to apologize because I had fun. And also the Hung Bucks are crazy. And you know what? I could be crazy too. And this is Fightful Overbooked. There's a lot of great shows on this channel. Not just Tag Talk, but primarily Tag Talk. But also Coexisting. And also In the Weeds. And also like all these fun shows. So go check them out for more wrestling and non-wrestling content. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us to talk about Aussie Open and the Hung Bucks. And, Halloween and I don't even remember whatever else we talked about today. And that's that. We'll see you guys next week, Monday, 3 p.m. Fightful Overbooked.
And as always, chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe.
That's at Kate.